Literally the worst thing ever is what some people are saying about the halftime show. No exaggeration, because what you see here is symbolic for an invasion. A lot of people on the left are like, wow, I love all these flags, these diverse flags in America's National Football League. These foreign flags and these foreigners don't even call it football. They call it American football. And then they bring their foreign flags onto our stadium and our field during halftime. And then they do this little mock invasion and they follow the camera around. The whole thing is in Spanish. And it reminds me of the Haitians coming in under that bridge that time that we talked a lot about, where they just kept coming and coming. Also, many of them waving their foreign flags as part of the invasion of our country. So here's what it sounded like, or looked like rather, when they came out, and you've got the American flag that's kind of right there, then it kind of gets overtaken by the Puerto Rican flag, and then there's a bunch of other foreign flags coming out. They're all singing and banging in Spanish, not speaking a word of English the entire time. Then they have that stupid sign back there. The only thing more powerful than hate is love. And we've heard that stupid phrase so many times here. No hate, except they absolutely hate America. And the argument here is what he was coming out and saying, this is America. In other words, this is what it looks like to be America, which is a conglomerate of a bunch of foreign flags, AKA the Americas, not just America as the United States, but as a global communist woke invasionary force. And that's what it looked like and sounded like. And then he comes out with all the flags back there, just marching through like they're taking over a bridge or something. So that was just one angle of the whole thing. Then we also saw this, which was another angle. And to be quite honest with you, I did not watch a lot of this, but these clips show the details. And we then got to see what the lyrics looked like as their little mock invasion continued. And here's what some of the lyrics sounded like. They were horrific. Megan Basham said, "These are the most obscene lyrics ever to be performed at a Super Bowl halftime." Probably why they did it in Spanish, so that most Americans wouldn't know what the hell they're saying. And then they could all just sit there and be like, wow, we're diverse. Listen to that Espanol. You have professing Christians in the Kentucky Senate and America's most recognized evangelical magazine saying Christians should have embraced and celebrated this gong show and to show love and to show that we're welcoming. And the kids would get a kick out of hearing this in Spanish as well. Now, here's some of the lyrics. I can't even read them, to be honest with you. You can read them. Hopefully you don't have kids who can read watching the show, but you can read it. Something rubbing, something licking, something F off, boyfriend eating something else, come down to me and the girl ecstasy and something, grind, elections with an R. It's wild. That was actually said repeatedly. This is what they were talking about. I don't even know. So that's the lyrics. And of course, the Babylon Bee had some fun with this. They said NBC suffered a bizarre technical glitch as the entire halftime show was broadcast in Spanish. Weird, but it definitely was. Says coming soon to a Democrat-controlled city near you. Here's of course, the headline there. The whole thing was in Spanish and obviously ridiculous. Now, after and during this event, there was a handoff. Apparently, there was a rumor that the little illegal alien baby who was flown back to Minnesota from Texas after his dad got picked up, running away from him and abandoning the child, that he was given a Grammy, allegedly. Turns out that wasn't the case. It wasn't the same kid. But a lot of people on the left were screaming about that. Here, Bad Bunny gave his Grammy to this guy, little Liam, who was detained by Trump. Turns out it was just some other random kid. And Trump responded. He said, the Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever. It makes no sense. It is an affront to the greatness of America. Doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, which is good because it was horrific. And the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. This show is just a slap in the face to our country. True. Which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market in 401k in history. There is nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show. And watch, it will get great reviews from the fake news media because they haven't got a clue about anything, saying of what's going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule. Also, make America great again, President DJT in the house. And of course, that's the right response. And it's easy to get really irritated about all this, but that's the point. Like, they're trying to irritate you. Look at all of our foreign flags on your football field, which we call American football because we don't even respect the name. But they were all happy about it. It's like gloating. It's a humiliation ritual. They like to rub your nose in it. And they did, to about 150 million people all over the world. But the right people love this thing. I saw a post from John Kasich. He was thrilled about it. He's, man, that was the best halftime Super Bowl show I've ever seen. John Kasich. You're like, of course it is. But all this, I think, is in connection with this mentality, which was going viral all weekend long. 11.7 million views from this guy. This is a Democrat named Gene Wu. And he's basically saying that white people are oppressing them. And he, I think, was born in China or something like that, then came over here and then is now rallying everybody to create a racial war inside of our country. It's got to be the Latinxos, the African Americans, the gays, the T's, whatever, bundle them all up, go after the whites because the white people are the ones who are oppressing all of us. Here's what this maniac had to say.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided. And I talk about this. I always
do what is fair and take over the country. What do you think that means when they start to enact policy prescriptions as a result of that mentality? Do you think that bodes well for like white Christians? No, it doesn't. And the communist onslaught is directly opposed to that. Exactly. They hate capitalism. They hate Christianity. They hate America because it's the embodiment of both of those things. So they want to rally everybody together. They want to march on the field with their little flags. They want everybody to get agitated about it, which works, or agitated about it, because it is largely a betrayal of our own culture, of our own institutions, right? The NFL is a national football league. It's American for Americans, and not for foreigners with their foreign flags bouncing around all of our fields. And they call it international diversity, globalism, communism. We don't appreciate that. We want to preserve American culture because this is America. They want to start their own football league and wave their flags around. They can go do that. They can go do that at the Olympics, but that's not what this is. So he, of course, is now coming complete mask off. This is what they've thought for a long time. And there are many people, right? I think there's a disdain. It's a disgusting thing to think about our country being split across races and genders and sexuality, right? Cutting everybody up into little bits and pieces and separating them. But that's what they're doing. And from their perspective, their rules are if you're not on their team, then you're against them. Okay. If you're not anti-racist, if you're not anti-oppressor, if you're not pro-woke, then you are opposite of them. You are their enemy. And so there's a huge portion of Americans, I would say whites and Christians largely, who don't understand what they're talking about, don't even understand the consequences of this ideology if it continues to matriculate and mature and then be deployed in terms of policy all around the country. They're people who want to correct the system, and what that generally means when communists get control, hundreds of millions dead. So it's not going to be good. So that's Gene Wu. A lot of backlash for him. Meanwhile, a good post from Alex Berenson. He said, after that halftime show, I think support for ICE just went up 20 points, probably. And I saw some videos also of people in the Super Bowl stadium during the halftime show just looking around at each other. What the hell's going on right now? This feels a little bit weird. So all of this, I think, is in connection to this concept that we talk a lot about here. It's called the Reconquista. Now, the Reconquista was something like an actual historical event, but there's a new movement that is called the Reconquista. Many different Reconquistas. You can see even the Spanish wanted to reconquer Mexico, but now the Mexicans want to reconquer America. This is an irredentist vision by different individuals saying that the Southwest United States should be politically and culturally returned to, which is what we just saw in the Super Bowl field. It's known as advocating a greater Mexico, aka Mexico Grande. And the invasion is a soft invasion. It's not a military invasion, although you could argue that it is. And the goal is to reclaim and conquer the lost territory. It means reconquest. It's an analogy to the Christian Reconquista, and they say that they're coming in to reclaim this land. Now, there's a nationalist party down there in Mexico, and they have given speeches about it. You can see they're excerpting from a speech. Then in another speech, this guy, he briefly returned to Reconquista. He said, today, the conquest and the colonization of Americas by way of Spain, military, and other things is notable, and a big, long speech. But then there's another far-right group over there. They reject, it's called the Nationalist Front of Mexico. They reject the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. They say, we reject the occupation of our nation in the northern territories. We demand our claim to those territories. And of course, they're retaking it. And it's happening all across America. So that's on display, a little bit of a humiliation ritual down there. And a lot of them are going to say, the Puerto Ricans they're American citizens, which is true. But of course, do they have any representation? No. Do they have any electoral votes? No. Do they have any senators? No. Do they have any House reps? No. They just have placeholders who are in there. And you might say that's a problem. Maybe we should give them representation, or maybe we should let them govern themselves and they can just be Puerto Ricans again. And all of the American patriarchy and all of our oppression, we can just leave, and then Puerto Rico can just deal with themselves. But this, of course, is who they are. And what we saw yesterday was in contrast to what the Turning Point folks had to do, saying All American Alternative shows millions of viewers. And we watched that too. And there was a very nice homage or memento to Charlie, which was very nice. Millions turned into the All American halftime show. The conservative nonprofit hour-long spectacle, they say, which started minutes before the Super Bowl, was backed by Trump. And they put on a nice show. I can't believe how well they organized everything so quickly. It looked very professional. The live stream was immaculate. No buffering there at all. Country musicians were there, Kid Rock and others. And the live stream was banging through the interwebs. Performances closed. There was a in memoriam to Charlie. Very nice. Emotional. Oh, man, we miss Charlie. Kirk regularly spent his Super Bowls weighing in on the halftime show. Trump said this is a dumpster. And it wasn't even in English, which is just wild. And of course, how can you defend multiple languages and multiple interpretations of governance if you're going to self-govern? And it reminds me of like the Tower of Babel. We have a million different languages in America. Nobody knows what the Constitution actually says. How can you have America if nobody knows what it means to be American because they can't speak English? It doesn't seem to be a smart way to govern a country. But we saw that, man, there was still some amazing Americana there. And here's one cameraman who delivered. Wow. He's watching this and then pans over to the fighter jets and then pans back over to this man closing out the national anthem. Here's what it sounded like. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, man, that cameraman was on his toes, bouncing around all over the place. Delivered and delivered.